This morning, slowing down the virus. We'll compare the current restrictions in Dane County to the statewide rules about to go into effect.
Plus, recaps of last night's vice presidential debate and how some pandemic precautions might not have been worth the trouble.
And a change in the weather pattern is headed our way. Coming up, all the 3 things that you need to know.
This is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thursday, October 8th. I'm Chris Stanford.
Glad to have you with us. I'm Leah Lynch, and we are now just 2 hours away from a new emergency order in Wisconsin set to limit gatherings as our state continues to see a surge in COVID cases.
The restrictions, as directed by Governor Evers, limit how many people can get together. Indoor public spaces will now be limited to 25% capacity. That includes restaurants, stores, and other businesses. That order does not include certain colleges, some schools, child care facilities, churches, and polling locations. These restrictions, again, start at 8 o'clock this morning. They'll be in place for about the next month, ending on November 6th.
We won't see much change here in Dane County. That's because the county has stricter rules in place than the state order. Those include a ban on indoor gatherings with more than 10 people, outdoor gatherings with more than 25, and no indoor seating at bars, though outdoor seating is still okay. Rock County will be following the statewide mandate since they don't have any countywide restrictions currently in place.
These new statewide rules come as Dane County hit a new record number of hospitalizations in the last 24 hours. 59 people are currently hospitalized in the county for complications from COVID-19. Dane County Executive Joe Parisi says 16 of those people are in intensive care. The previous record was 47 hospitalizations set just on Monday. Once again, our daily new case count is 2,000 more in the last 24 hours. Wisconsin's average daily deaths has tripled in the last 2 weeks. Hospitalizations are up almost 70% in that same time frame. And as of Tuesday, one hospital in Green Bay reported reaching 100% capacity. Patients were being staged in hallways as beds filled out. The National Guard now turning the state fairgrounds into a field hospital in case space runs out.
Movie theaters are calling recently announced financial help a lifeline. With little to no revenue coming in, nearly 70% of small to mid-sized theaters are at risk of closure. Chris Johnson bought and opened the Classic Cinema's Beloit Theater at the end of last year and was just finishing up some major renovations when the pandemic forced him to close. Governor Evers has announced $10 million in aid for privately owned theaters. Owners, though, say they are still waiting on more guidance on applying for that funding.
A local bank recognizing teachers with a $20,000 donation to Toki Middle School. That donation was made through Wisconsin Bank and Trust and a partnership with the national nonprofit Adopt a Classroom. Principal Kyle Wall says they're still trying to figure out exactly what that money is going to go for, but he thinks it's likely going to be used on supplies for when they're able to safely return to the classroom, musical instruments, equipment for STEM programming, and new books. 6:02 right now, the vice presidential candidates have made their biggest pitch to voters yet. Last night's debate, the only VP debate, attempted to cover a wide range of issues.
Healthcare, of course, was a major topic during this pandemic, including the current administration's efforts to dismantle the Affordable Care Act.
If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you.
Obamacare was a disaster. The American people remember it well.
More health questions took center stage last night, with both presidential candidates being in their 70s. The candidates here were asked about the potential transfer of power if the president were to die in office or would be unable to fulfill their duties. Neither candidates answered the question, choosing instead to run out the clock by discussing other issues.
So those candidates were divided by plexiglass last night, and there's a report from the New York Times that says those dividers may not have been very effective. An environmental engineer tells the Times that those barriers were just too small to be adequate. Experts say the barriers would have worked if they were sitting right next to each other, but with 12 feet of space between them, it would have been more beneficial to have a plexiglass box or a wall.
All right, with just weeks to go before Election Day, many people are feeling anxious about the results. Experts say there's actually a name for it. It's called election stress disorder. Couples therapist Dr. Stephen Stosny says stress over the election is causing many folks to fight with their spouses, their friends, their co-workers. He says this year the anxiety is even worse than 2016 because of added stress from the pandemic.
Anxiety makes you feel powerless, and resentment or anger makes you feel temporarily more empowered.
Dr. Stosny says you can reduce your anxiety with exercise, maybe writing your feelings down. If you do find yourself in an argument, try and keep it peaceful.
6:04 right now. I'm Josh Breiter with meteorologist Hattie McLean in the First Warren Traffic Center. If you find yourself stressed, maybe just take a nice walk outside this week. I tell you what, we are very spoiled right now.
Yes, soak up the sunshine and the mild temperatures. You know they don't last too long here in Wisconsin. Here are the 3 things that you need to know going forward. We still have a dry forecast through this weekend, pushing up those rain chances just a little bit to Monday, but it will stay nice through the weekend. Mild temperatures are around, will stay above normal through Monday, but then it's back into the 50s next week, which is pretty close to where we should be for this time of the year. We've been mild so long, it's hard to remember what is normal. The upper air pattern, the jet stream has been surging to our north, so that has allowed warmer temperatures to move into southern Wisconsin, and that trend is going to continue through the rest of this week. Take a look at Friday afternoon. Still very mild conditions here across the Badger State. As we head into the second part of the weekend, note what happens out west. The Pacific Northwest begins to really cool down as the trough of low pressure develops in the jet stream pattern. That trough is going to progress to the east, and it will move into the Great Lakes region. So by the time we hit Tuesday, we're looking at quite a big cool down in those temperatures. Here are the details. That high temperature trend kind of looks like a slide. We have upper 70s on Friday, and it's a steady downward trend right through the end of next week. Most of next week will have highs in the 50s. And likewise, those nighttime lows are going to trend downward as well. We're looking at lows getting back into the 30s. Here's a look at your weather track forecast model. High pressure in control now, though, so enjoy the quiet conditions that we have. No clouds in the area early this morning, and really nothing set to change that through the day today. Here's a look at our current temperature readings. We are a little cooler this morning. In Madison, it's 40. Yesterday at this time, we were in the 50s. Some 30s on the map as well to the north and to the east of Madison this morning. Your future track forecast model shows you that temperatures are going to climb with that sunshine today. Winds will be from the north, but they are expected to stay very light, so shouldn't impact us too much. Temperatures will top in the mid to upper 60s later on this afternoon. It's going to be another mild evening as our winds shift to the south. Once again, temperatures will stay in the 50s overnight. And take a look at these numbers. Very nice through the weekend. Nighttime lows in the 50s, daytime highs in the 70s. Rain chances have been bumped up to Monday of next week.
All right, looking great, Hattie. Thanks. Wonderful weekend ahead. CDC guidelines say President Trump should still be isolating 1 week after his COVID-19 diagnosis, but he is moving around the White House. He returned to the Oval Office Wednesday. More than 15 members of the administration have tested positive. President Trump's doctor says that he has shown no symptoms in the last 24 hours and now has detectable levels of antibodies. But Dr. Sean Conley didn't say if Trump has those levels of antibodies because he was given an antibody cocktail. Questions about the president's current medications, whether he's still contagious, or what his lung scans look like are not being answered by the White House. In total, 34 White House staffers and other contacts have been infected with coronavirus in the last week. That's according to the Hill's reporting on an internal memo from FEMA. That is 10 more cases than previously reported. The memo says an unnamed top advisor is among those who's infected. They could be referring, though, to Hope Hicks or Stephen Miller. Both top aides have tested positive.
Developing this morning at 6:07, more NFL players are also testing positive for COVID-19. The latest to confirm they have the virus, Patriots cornerback Stephon Gilmore. Gilmore tested positive 4 days after his teammate, quarterback Cam Newton. The New York Times reporting this morning 2 more players on the Tennessee Titans have also tested positive, bringing doubt that they will play their next scheduled game against Buffalo.
The sports world is turning to technology, meanwhile, to keep their stadiums clean. Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium is deploying drones that will spray disinfectant as the stadium welcomes back fans this Sunday. Officials say the drones will allow for a 95% reduction in time spent cleaning. And the Miami Dolphins say they will continue to host a limited capacity of fans in their stadium for the rest of the year. This after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis gave the team the go-ahead to host games at full capacity. That would be about 65,000 people, as opposed to their currently limited 13,000. Sports Illustrated reports the Dolphins did not request the ability to fill their stadium and that they plan to stick with CDC guidelines on how many people can watch the game in person.
UW, in the meantime, is further limiting attendance for the Badgers' upcoming game against Illinois. Only essential personnel now will be allowed to attend. Originally, about 1,500 family members of players and coaches were going to be allowed in. Now the only people at Camp Randall will be the players, coaches, stadium operations personnel, and a few reporters. The Badgers face the Illini of Illinois on the 24th.
6:09 right now. Let's get a check of your traffic conditions at this hour across Madison. No crashes or major delays to speak of. Closer look at downtown this morning. Looks like we're looking pretty good. Just a couple of delays on John Nolan Drive as you approach downtown there. Other than that, no problems out there. Drive times also looking good to start us off on this Thursday morning. That's your First One traffic.
Coming up, the latest on protests in Milwaukee County after an officer was cleared of charges in a fatal shooting.
Plus, the holidays are coming up. What changes you might see in your usual traditions thanks to the pandemic? Stay with us.
Through Monday at Furniture and Appliance Mart. Pay just $1 down for top brand appliances. That's right, you pay just $1. Seriously. And finance your entire purchase interest-free through 2021. Only at Furniture and Appliance Mart inside Ashley Home Store off the Beltline.
Fry Construction is celebrating their 25-year anniversary, which means big savings on home repairs and improvements. No job is too small or too big, and your safety is always our concern. Respected in the industry and voted best of Madison, Fry Construction delivers lasting quality for your home. And now, for a limited time, save 25% off gutters or insulation with a full roof, siding, or window project, all with zero down, 0% interest for 12 months. Contact Fry Construction today.
A1 Furniture and Mattress on Stoughton Road is now open. Family owned for 3 generations, the Canarella family offers the best prices, service, and selection in town. That's why we're A1, locally owned and operated since 1980.
At Papa Murphy's, we make fresh pizza that you bake at home. Because home is where the fun is. For a limited time only, get the Combo Magnifico Pizza for just $10. Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
Our seniors that are being hit the hardest, they're frightened. And I want them to know that their health and safety will be my responsibility if I'm your president. And I'll have from day one, ready to go, the best medical experts and scientists to advise on our response. And I will not abandon you. It's a simple proposition, folks. We're all in this together. We got to fight this together. We'll emerge from this stronger because we did it together. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
I wanted my hepatitis C gone.
I put off treating mine.
Epclusa treats all main types of chronic hep C. Whatever your type, Epclusa could be your kind of cure.
I just found out about mine.
I knew for years. Epclusa has a 98% overall cure rate.
I had no symptoms of hepatitis C.
Mine caused liver damage.
Epclusa is only 1 pill, once a day, taken with or without food for 12 weeks. Before starting Epclusa, your doctor will test if you have had hepatitis B, which may flare up and could cause serious liver problems during and after treatment. Tell your doctor if you have had hepatitis B, other liver or kidney problems, HIV or other medical conditions, and all medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Taking amiodarone with Epclusa may cause a serious slowing of your heart rate. Common side effects include headache and tiredness. Ask your doctor today if Epclusa is your kind of cure.
Through Monday at Ashley Home Store. Pay just $1 down for the best sleep of your life. You pay just $1 at checkout for any mattress in our lineup. Seriously. Plus, savings up to 55% off. And no interest financing for up to 6 years. Only at Ashley Home Store. This is home.
6:13 now. Wauwatosa is quiet this morning after overnight protests following the announcement that an officer won't be charged for shooting and killing a black teenager. The courts say Officer Joseph Mensah, who is also black, was justified for the shooting outside of Mayfair Mall back in February. Protesters have been marching for 132 days, calling for justice for Elvin Cole, the teen who was killed. A report on the case finds Cole did discharge a weapon, though not at officers. The case marks the 3rd time Officer Mensah has fatally shot someone in the last 5 years. The previous 2 shootings were ruled as self-defense.
Developing right now at 6:13, no deaths have been reported so far following Hurricane Delta's landfall in Mexico. Delta hit the Yucatan Peninsula early Wednesday morning, causing some flooding in that area. Forecasters say interaction with the peninsula weakened the storm to a Category 1 overnight, but it is already back up to a Cat 2 as it nears the U.S. That storm expected to hit Louisiana later this week. States of emergency have already been declared ahead of the storm in Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. This morning, evacuations are now underway along parts of the Gulf Coast. The states have already suffered at least 16 weather and climate disaster events with destruction losses exceeding $1 billion each. Delta could push 2020 into having the most billion-dollar disasters in U.S. history. Hattie joins me now. Take a look at these photos behind us. These were taken yesterday morning by NOAA hurricane trackers flying into Delta as it hit Mexico. Just look at that. Look at the sun rays there. That's incredible.
That is unbelievable. Gorgeous picture. Hard to think of what's going on below those clouds, but still making for a nice, pretty sunrise.
Yeah, and this has been kind of a roller coaster ride. It's kind of been up and down. Now it's up to a Category 2 this morning again.
Yeah, the storm has strengthened rapidly and then weakened almost just as rapidly. Let's take a look at the current track and position of this particular storm. This is Hurricane Delta, again, a Category 2 storm in the middle of the Gulf Coast, or Gulf of Mexico rather. Gusts up to 120 miles an hour right now. Now it is expected to continue on its northwesterly track for the next few hours, but eventually as we head into Friday, it will turn more northward and head back towards the Louisiana coastline. So here's a look at what happens as it makes landfall sometime late Friday afternoon into the early evening time frame. Could be a Category 2 storm. Again, it could strengthen to a Category 3, but likely weaken again as it approaches the coastline. The storm is still going to bring dangerous storm surge, strong winds, and very heavy rain to the area. It will then weaken pretty rapidly as it moves out over land, and this weekend heading into the northeastern part of the country. Here's a live look at our sunrise underway. We have clear skies. Pretty nice shot from the WIC-TV sky camera this morning. It's 40 here in Madison. Sunrise coming just after 7 o'clock these days. Our temperatures across the region are in the 30s and 40s. Yesterday at this time, you may remember, we were in the 50s, so it is a little bit cooler this morning. Be aware of that as you step out the door. As you head to the bus stop, you might want a light jacket heading to school this morning. You probably aren't going to need it this afternoon. Don't forget to bring it home though. Shove it in your backpack or your backpack if you're not going to wear that jacket later on. Temperatures should top in the upper 60s. A lot of sunshine in our forecast later on today. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll take a look at that weekend forecast and show you just how warm it's going to be here in southern Wisconsin.
All right, Hattie, thank you very much. 6:16 now. The World Bank is out with a new warning this morning. They say the level of global extreme poverty is expected to increase for the first time in 2 decades. It says 150 million people are expected to be pushed into the extremely poor category by 2021. That's defined as living on less than $1.90 a day. The World Bank says had there not been a pandemic, the poverty rate was actually expected to drop by 2%.
You may still see that pay raise next year. More than half of 700 U.S. companies said in a recent survey they're sticking with their original salary hike targets. 35% plan to cut pay raise projections. They are not getting rid of them, though. 10% of the companies in the survey said no pay raises will happen next year. As for bonuses, 66% of companies surveyed plan to still offer those, but they'll most likely go to executives and those in management. A new survey indicates that the coronavirus pandemic has caused teen spending to hit a 40-year low. USA Today looked at spending results from 9,800 teenagers in 48 states. Participants came from households with an average annual income of about $67,000. Between August and September, teens reported spending roughly $2,100. That is an all-time low and 9% lower than 2019. 23% of teens this year said the pandemic has affected their ability to work part-time.
In efforts to reduce waste, Levi's is launching a denim buyback program. Here's how it works. You drop off your used jeans and denim jackets at participating stores. Then your items would be cleaned and listed on the company's re-commerce site, Levi's Secondhand. You can get a free gift card for the clothes you turn in and help keep your clothes in circulation and out of the landfill. Love that idea. The pandemic has people spending more time growing their own food, meanwhile, and preserving it, so that's leading to a shortage of mason jars as folks can things. A spokesperson for Ball brand canning products said the entire canning industry has recently experienced an unprecedented demand. Right now, there's limited product availability at stores and online, so my stack of them at home might be worth something, huh? The company said it's increased production and found additional manufacturers to address the issue.
So you can expect the Thanksgiving turkey to be a bit smaller this year. During the pandemic, fewer people will likely be around Thanksgiving tables, and that means that many households are looking to buy smaller turkeys. Grocery stores, distributors, and farmers are rethinking now their long-standing Thanksgiving traditions. Walmart's increasing its availability of boneless and bone-in turkey breasts. While the bird may be smaller, experts think about 40 million turkeys will still be eaten around the holidays. Well, your kids may not be able to sit on Santa's lap this year. Brookfield Properties, which has malls in Appleton and Wauwatosa, say that Santa will visit, but there will be no contact. Brookfield says to ensure safe fun, Santa might show up in a giant picture frame riding a sleigh or in a giant snow globe. The largest mall operator in the U.S., Simon Properties, said that Santa will be visiting their malls this year, but they haven't released details yet.
All right, coming up on 6:20 this morning and still ahead for us on this Thursday, a new study is changing the way our dogs look at us. We'll explain coming up.
And coming up in our next half hour, why Republicans say the governor's new state health restrictions are unenforceable. Stay with us.
I've always had jobs centered on helping people, but now with a nursing degree from Herzing University, I've made it a career.
Having a job was one thing, but having a career, to me, that meant something completely different. With a little hard work and a degree from Herzing University, anything is possible.
I'm possible at Herzing.
Busted? Original Gorilla Glue, of course. Works indoor, works outdoor. It's weatherproof, it's waterproof. It's versatile and incredibly strong for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
Ladies, check it out. So strong, so not ripped.
What are we talking about?
That's the Hefty Ultra Strong bag.
Hefty, hefty, hefty.
Give me the bag.
Get Hefty Ultra Strong at a low price.
A little ding means more savings now at the Brothers Main Scratch and Dent Floor Model Sale. You'll get more amazing deals for your kitchen, laundry, and living room. Get up to 40% off hundreds of products to make you and your home happier. Want more? How about expert salespeople every day or a risk-free 30-day price and satisfaction guarantee? The Scratch and Dent Floor Model Sale means more selection, more savings, and more ways to make you and your home happier. Now at the Brothers Main, your local store for more since 1938.
When Joe Biden wants an update on the virus, he calls on the nation's top health experts. Working together for all Americans is what Joe does. When writing his healthcare plan, Joe Biden worked with both doctors and patients to make healthcare affordable by lowering premiums, reducing drug costs, and protecting people with pre-existing conditions. Joe listened to both small business owners and workers to create his economic plan that cuts taxes for middle-class families, creates 18 million new jobs in his first term, and raises wages by as much as $15,000 a year. Joe Biden's plans will help working families immediately by making the super rich finally pay their fair share. For Joe, it's never been about ego. It's always been about the work he can do for working families. It's what he's always done. Joe Biden brings everyone to the table and gets it done.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
He's our independent voice who answers to no one but us. Todd Novak. Todd Novak is working across the aisle, passing the bipartisan COVID-19 relief bill, helping hospitals and communities get the resources needed to fight the coronavirus. Todd Novak is helping families, small businesses, and farmers as we work to rebuild the economy safely. And Todd Novak led the bipartisan effort to make sure our water is clean and safe for future generations. Our voice. Todd Novak for State Assembly.
We're back at 6:23 on a Thursday morning. We've got just a couple of days left in our annual Coast for Kids drive, so let's see just how much of a difference you've made so far this morning.
Yeah, we collected nearly 500 more items over the last day or so.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's really impressive. It brings our total to just under 4,700.
We can make 5,000 by tomorrow, right?
I think we can. Let's do it, folks. So if you haven't donated yet, you have until Saturday.
Yeah, so go through your closets, get those coats, gloves, hats, mittens, scarves, and then drop them off at your local Clinky Cleaners. We'll start distributing this stuff later this month.
Our producer Jake thinks that we can get to 6,000 by the end of the week. I think we can do it.
We probably could.
We can probably do it,
that
guys.
last-minute push.
2 more days.
Up, folks.
Let's get there. All right, coming up on 6:24 now, trending this morning while your dog is excited to see you, it probably doesn't love the sight of your face.
What?
Yeah, turns out dogs aren't big on faces. There's a new study now showing that dogs were shown a series of videos of the front or back of a dog or human head. Researchers say dog brains are not hardwired to focus on faces and couldn't tell the difference between the front or back of a head. Dog brains were focused on determining whether they were seeing another dog or a human, not on faces.
Okay, not to be that girl, but I have evidence to the contrary. Our dog, like our dog growing up, loved only my dad, who's like this silver-haired fox, and she would only like people who looked like him. Otherwise, hated everybody else.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So,
Did it like you?
Just saying, no, it hated me. It hated everyone. It was a grumpy, grumpy little mini poodle.
But loved your dad.
Loved my dad, my 74-year-old father, walking around with this little white poodle.
That's adorable.
I'm sorry to ruin the story, but it's not true.
No, they like smells and sounds and stuff like that. I mean, what does a dog do when it sees another dog? It goes...
Right for the backside.
What does it do? I want details, Chris.
You guys know. Don't act like you don't.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. Take it away, guys.
Let's take a look at that forecast this morning. Already kind of chillier than we were yesterday, but still looking nice today.
Yeah, not bad today at all. We are starting in the 30s and 40s. A few spots still in the 50s this morning, but it's generally a little cooler than it has been the last couple of mornings. Over the next 12 hours, though, we'll see a nice warm up to highs in the mid to upper 60s later on this afternoon. Winds are going to be very light today, but they will be from the north. Lots of sunshine is expected. Here's a look at our temperatures for the weekend. I'll show the entire state perspective in case you're wanting to take a look at some of the fall color that we have here across Wisconsin. Should be pretty nice as we head through Saturday and even Sunday. Mild temperatures expected across the state. Near peak color as well through central and northern Wisconsin, so this may be the last weekend to enjoy some of those leaves.
All right. It is looking gorgeous out there. I mean, I think it's peak to me. And if it can get better, that'd be great. We'll be right back.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Hey, Madison voters, don't let the pandemic suppress your vote. Create your safe voting plan now. You have options. Visit cityofmadison.com/clerk to create your safe voting plan today. Brought to you by the Madison City Clerk's Office.
Donald Trump is lying again. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone making under $400,000. Biden will close tax loopholes for big corporations. Trump's tax cut giveaway exploded our debt, so he's threatening Social Security and Medicare. Biden will make the wealthy and big corporations pay their fair share, so we can protect Social Security and Medicare and invest in schools and health care.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Joe Biden isn't an epidemiologist. He's not an economist or military general. But what he is the kind of leader who listens to the experts and a candidate who has earned their support. And what he'll be is a president who leads us out of this crisis and a commander-in-chief who respects those who have served. Because Joe Biden knows this moment is not about him, but about what we can do together. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
We drive everywhere to help our son reach his dream of becoming an elite swimmer. So we enrolled in the Know Your Drive program with American Family Insurance. It gives us discounts for safe driving and other benefits, like emergency roadside service, which comes in handy, no matter where his dreams take him. With Know Your Drive, save up to 20% and get closer to your dreams. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact and subcompact tractors. Our reliable #1 selling tractors are designed for easy operation and feature all the performance-matched attachments needed to tackle any job. Right now, get 0 down and 0% APR for 84 months and save up to $1,700, plus no payments for 90 days.
Hi, I'm Tim O'Brien, owner of The Healthy Place, and every couple of months, we have a store-wide sale. Stop in this week for 25% off Monday through Saturday. Stop pain, reduce stress, get deeper sleep, and find your healthy place with natural supplements. Stock up on all your favorite supplements this week with 25% off through Saturday. My mission is to impact, empower, and educate you. Stop by one of our 4 Madison-based locations or check us out online at findyourhealthyplace.com.
Hey, Madison voters, don't let the pandemic suppress your vote. Create your safe voting plan now. You have options. Visit cityofmadison.com/clerk to create your safe voting plan today. Brought to you by the Madison City Clerk's Office.
If it's government overreach, it's unconstitutional.
Criticism of the new statewide order to slow the spread of the virus this morning. The new rules start in less than 2 hours. How it'll affect your family and what's at stake for businesses.
Clear skies this morning and pleasant temperatures expected today. All of the full forecast coming up.
This is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Those new emergency orders go into effect for all of Wisconsin coming up here in 90 minutes.
Yep, the new COVID precautions will impact a lot of area businesses with a new limit on public gatherings. Indoor public spaces like stores, restaurants, and businesses will now only be able to operate at 25% capacity. That goes into effect again at 8 a.m. Now, there are exceptions to the order that include some colleges and schools, churches, polling locations, and child care facilities. Again, goes into effect at 8 this morning. It's going to last less than a month. It ends on November 6th.
Now, a reminder, if you live in Dane County, some of the rules here are actually stricter than those that are going to affect this morning. Those are the ones that you're going to have to follow. For example, indoor gatherings in Dane County, like concerts, meetings, or conferences, those are still limited to 10 people or less. Outdoor gatherings are limited to 25 people or less. Indoor seating at taverns is also not allowed at all. They can't offer takeout, though, in outdoor seating. For folks in Rock County, you'll be following the new statewide orders that go into effect today.
So many business owners worry about the impact this will have on their livelihoods, especially with no federal stimulus relief in sight. Hudson, Wisconsin, that city up in St. Croix County, has stayed pretty busy during the pandemic, but this new order could change that. Pete Foster owns 3 spots in town, including a cafe. He says he voluntarily reduced his indoor space to 60% in April. He'll now be forced to cut that capacity in half. And he says staying open might not be worth it.
It might just be a better financial decision for us to just close down altogether and ride it out and then open up when things are back to whatever normal is.
Several folks are protesting the stricter public health oversight. They say it's government overreach and unconstitutional.
Republican lawmakers feel the same way. Several of them are calling the emergency order unenforceable. In a letter, Assembly Speaker Robin Vos and Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald say that officials need to follow the rulemaking process outlined by law. They say it can't be enforced until it's approved by the Republican-controlled legislature. Republicans believe the emergency order is invalid because of Wisconsin's Supreme Court ruling earlier this year. The court ruled DH.
6:32 right now. We've got breaking news into the alert center here within the last few minutes. At least 2 inmates at Dodge Correctional have died from COVID-19. The State Journal reporting this morning the deaths happened in September. It is the first confirmed COVID-related deaths in the Wisconsin prison system. More coronavirus-related deaths in prisons could have happened, but the Department of Corrections does not report that information because of privacy laws.
Josh, 6:32 right now. To the race for the White House. The only vice presidential debate is now officially in the books.
And it was the candidates, not the moderator, who chose the direction of last night's debate. Kamala Harris and Mike Pence repeatedly avoiding responding to direct questions. They instead pivoted to what they wanted to talk about. One of the biggest unanswered questions is about what would happen if the president becomes incapacitated and unable to serve. Neither Harris nor Pence answered that question.
Moderator Susan Page had given Vice President Mike Pence another chance to say that he and the president would accept the results of the election and transition peacefully if they lose. Here's what he had to say.
Let me just say, I think we're going to win this election. President Trump and I are fighting every day in courthouses to prevent Joe Biden and Kamala Harris from changing the rules and creating this universal mail-in voting that will create a massive opportunity for voter fraud. And we have a free and fair election. We know we're going to have confidence in it. And I believe in all my heart that President Donald Trump's going to be reelected for 4 more years.
Pence never directly answered the question. Now, we have done extensive reporting on how election fraud is extremely rare, with less than 20 instances of voter fraud in the millions of ballots cast in Wisconsin since 2019. During the first presidential debate, Biden said that he would accept the results of the election no matter the outcome.
Now, Kamala Harris is using the debate as a chance to emphasize her ticket's health care plan and explain what she says would happen if President Trump won a second term. Take a listen to that.
If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you. If you love someone who has a pre-existing condition, they're coming for you. If you are under the age of 26 on your parents' coverage, they're coming for you.
As for the president's health care plan, Pence says the administration will protect pre-existing conditions for all Americans. But CBS's fact check finds this is mostly false. Pre-existing conditions are currently covered by the Affordable Care Act, which the Trump administration is currently challenging in court. The Supreme Court will hear that case after the election.
Health insurance companies could consider the millions of Americans who have had COVID-19 to have a pre-existing condition. Both candidates traded accusations over the federal response to the virus last night. Harris says that the Biden administration would make sure that a vaccine's free for everyone. That's something that the Trump administration has also promised. Pence says that they'll have millions of doses of the vaccine available by the end of this year. However, that is highly unlikely. Just this week, the FDA said that they would need at least 2 months of trials before they would approve any vaccine. That means a vaccine before the new year is highly unlikely.
6:35 right now and developing this morning. I'm tracking reactions for the debate coming into the Alert Center this morning. Both presidential candidates have chimed in. The president tweeting overnight saying Mike Pence won big. He also tweeted his support earlier in the night, calling Kamala Harris a, quote, gaffe machine. Joe Biden is showing his support for his running mate, saying Kamala Harris, quote, made us all proud tonight. Former Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker also posted overnight. It's a picture of him with Pence and 2 of his staffers following the debate. Several news outlets have reported Walker helped Pence prepare for that debate.
New this morning, the president is making plans to get back on the campaign trail as soon as Monday, while he could still be contagious. Take a look at his tentative schedule. Bloomberg News reporting the president is aiming to give a speech in Pennsylvania on Monday, then another speech in Michigan on Tuesday. The president is still fighting COVID-19, of course, at the White House, a week after his diagnosis. CDC guidelines say the president should quarantine through at least another week. The president's doctors say his labs show he is developing antibodies and is currently symptom-free.
Developing this morning, Hurricane Delta is making its way from Mexico to the Gulf Coast. It hit Mexico as a Category 2 storm about 24 hours ago. Expected to gain some more strength again as it heads up to the coast and could hit land in the U.S. as soon as tomorrow afternoon. Hattie's got the latest track on this. Already advisories posted for a lot of these, evacuations underway. These folks just can't catch a break this year.
No, they can't. They've been pounded by storm after storm, and yet again, they have about another day or so before the next storm arrives. Take a look at the watches and warnings. Much of the Louisiana coastline under a hurricane warning this morning through tomorrow. Now, that storm is expected to make landfall sometime on Friday. Here's where the storm currently is, in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, about 450 miles south of the Louisiana border. It's a Category 2 storm right now with winds sustained at about 100 miles an hour. On the current track, the storm is expected to continue to move to the northwest for the next couple of hours, and then as we head into Friday morning, turn more northward, even a little bit to the north and east. Now, this storm may intensify to a major hurricane. That's a Category 3 or above. As it approaches the coastline, though, it is expected to weaken some, making landfall sometime late Friday afternoon or early evening as a Category 2 storm, as this map depicts. Now, again, that storm is expected to bring dangerous storm surge and very heavy rain to parts of Louisiana into the southern tier of the United States. The storm will then continue to weaken through the weekend. Here's a look at your future track precipitation. And again, it's going to be a band of rain, 5 to 10 inches, maybe up to a foot through most of Louisiana, starting late today into Friday and then through Saturday. There's not a whole lot happening right now, but you are starting to see some sprinkles move onshore this morning. Again, the heaviest rain will arrive a little bit closer to when that storm makes landfall. No rain here, though. It is very quiet across the Badger State and the upper Midwest. Here's a live look from the WIC-TV sky camera shot. Skies are clear. It's 40 degrees here in Madison. Our winds are calm this morning. Here's a look at temperatures elsewhere across the region. Definitely cooler than yesterday. 36 in the Dells, 30s through the Wisconsin River Valley. Watertown, you're down to 36 right now as well. Even Monroe, the warm spot, has dropped a couple of degrees to 54. We're again right around 40 here in Madison. Our future track forecast model shows you that temperatures are going to warm today. We will battle a light northerly wind. That's going to keep temperatures a little cooler. 60 by lunchtime, mid to upper 60s, but plenty of sunshine through the afternoon. Our winds shift around later tonight. They'll be out of the south, and that will keep temperatures on the warm side overnight. We're talking lows only around 50 degrees. For Friday, look at the warmest day out of the next several days. We have a high of 77 degrees. That quiet weather pattern continues through the weekend. Things start to change up next week, though. It's definitely going to feel like October with highs back in the 50s on Wednesday.
Yeah, we got to take advantage of this weather while we have it.
Soak it up.
Thanks, Hads. A curfew order no longer in effect in Wauwatosa this morning. It started at 7 last night, but demonstrators paid it no mind. Take a look at this brand new video in this morning. People marching through the street overnight and were later met by tear gas from police. Several businesses are also waking up to broken windows and other damage this morning thanks to a separate group. Some area residents went downtown to help clean up some of the damage. Our news partners in Milwaukee spoke to one of those helpers who says he's supportive of the movement, but worries the message gets lost when there's destruction.
And it's our city, and I understand the frustration, and I support, everybody having the right to live, but it doesn't give the right to destroy.
The damage followed several hours of peaceful marches and protests through Wauwatosa. It's all in response to a decision from the Milwaukee District Attorney who chose not to charge an officer in the February shooting death of teenager Alvin Cole. The Wisconsin National Guard is also in Wauwatosa this morning to help local law enforcement.
Wauwatosa police have been updating people through Twitter. Police declared the gathering an unlawful assembly at around 9:30 last night. Many stayed out, though, until 2:30 this morning. Police also reported cars driving 25 miles above the speed limit and driving on the wrong side of the road in some areas. Officers say they put down spike strips to try and stop the drivers.
Now, Alvin Cole's family says the DA's decision isn't the solution they wanted. Prior to yesterday's announcement, an investigation by a former U.S. attorney found Mensa should be fired. The report argues there's a high risk that Mensa might shoot another person. The case marked Mensa's third fatal shooting in the last 5 years. The DA says he's not filing charges because Mensa had a reasonable belief that deadly force was necessary. A report found that teen Cole had discharged his weapon, though not at officers. Mensa is still suspended from the department without pay.
All right, 6:41 right now. Take a look at this new video in from overnight. A huge fireball lit up the sky in Monterrey, Mexico earlier this week. A security camera caught the whole thing. The Mexican Civil Defense Ministry says they think this was probably a meteorite breaking up as it entered the Earth's atmosphere.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and anyone who's been through it or knows someone who has knows how exhausting that fight is. That's why a Janesville woman says an act of kindness is just the medicine she needed. Chrissy Holcomb is battling breast cancer. The surgeries and treatments are taking their toll, which is why she was grateful when a company came to her house to help her out with a chore. Fish Window Cleaning picked Holcomb out of a group of nominees to help clean her windows. It might seem simple, but Holcomb says knowing she's not alone means a lot.
This is like community, support, people reaching out. I have a great support circle of my own family, my friends.
The National Breast Cancer Foundation estimates more than 300,000 new cases of the cancer will be diagnosed in the U.S. this year. 1 in 8 women in the U.S. will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime.
6:42 right now. Let's take a look at the roads on a Thursday morning. If you're heading out right now across town, this is what the Madison area looks like. We'll take you around town. First off, along Park Street, looking pretty good at this hour, all in the green there. Closer to downtown, some delays along Gorham Street and also East Washington as you approach the downtown area, and a couple of delays near Stoughton Road on the westbound Beltline, but no crashes or major incidents to report this morning. Drive times also in the green. Let's take a live look outside. Just about 6:43 on the nose. Beautiful shot from the Edgewater Skycam. That is the way you want to start a morning, folks. It's going to be another glorious one out there, and Hattie will have the details coming up.
And changing how you post on Facebook. It could change how you feel in real life. The kind of posts that'll make you feel better when we come back.
Introducing the Fall Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns. Safely tour a vast array of expertly crafted homes from top builders across the area. Meet the builders, discover new design trends. Visit MadisonParadeOfHomes.com for more information.
Today, you can turn your home into a university. And you can turn a lasting career into reality. With Herzing University, you can earn a degree in today's hottest fields. Anytime, online. Herzing is recognized, accredited, experienced, and transfer-friendly with more than 90% student satisfaction. For a limited time, we'll waive your enrollment fee. See what your career can turn into with Herzing University.
I'm possible at Herzing.
Call or click today.
A1 Furniture and Mattress on Stoughton Road is now open, featuring affordable in-stock name brands for every room, with a huge selection that's hard to beat. That's why we're A1, locally owned and operated since 1980.
Joe Biden will make healthcare affordable. His plan gives a tax credit to help working families pay insurance premiums, lowers prescription costs by 60%, and protects coverage for pre-existing conditions. No matter what, he'll pay for it by getting rid of Donald Trump's tax cuts for the super rich. Because Joe knows our economy's strength doesn't come from the top. It comes from working families. And that's who he's fighting for every day.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Right now, AARP's work is more important than ever. Access to health care, affordable prescription drugs, opportunities to save for the future. That's what AARP fights for because that's what everyone deserves.
We aren't radical, so why would we want one representing us in Madison? Chris Marion is an extreme partisan liberal who's just fine with calling political opponents Nazis, dictators, and enemies. And Chris Marion wants to take more of your paycheck, too. Marion supports eliminating levy limits, causing property taxes to skyrocket, crushing families as they try to recover. And Marion backs the radical Green New Deal that will cost trillions, destroy jobs, and increase taxes. Chris Marion, just too radical.
Introducing the Fall Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns. Safely tour a vast array of expertly crafted homes from top builders across the area. Meet the builders, discover new design trends. Visit MadisonParadeOfHomes.com for more information.
As the election draws closer, you may be getting more campaign-related items in your mailbox and on your phone. What information of yours is out there for sale? And is there a way to stop unwanted mailings? Tonight on News 3 Now at 10. Accurate news as it happens, right here where you live. Information that you can use from the team you can trust. For more local stories that impact your life, News 3 Now.
All right, we all know it's pretty easy to get sucked into social media these days, like Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, we found this, thought it might be interesting. It says that changing how you post can actually change the way you feel. A new study published in Nature Communications finds that there's a psychological benefit to posting authentically. How about that, huh? Researchers say people on Facebook who present themselves in a way that's closer to how they actually view themselves report higher levels of life satisfaction and happiness. An example of something that's inauthentic would be someone who is an introvert, someone who doesn't like to be around other people, posting about how excited they are to go out over the weekend.
I think this contributes to a lack of self-confidence in young women, too, especially on social media, on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, for sure. A lot of potential problems here. Like if you're just posting to get likes or that quick hit, of dopamine to, you post something and then you just want to see people react to it instead of just being yourself. That's better for you.
This is a big conversation right now, just how social media impacts your mental health. Like that Netflix documentary that came out, The Social Dilemma, that we were talking about the other day. Just a huge conversation.
Yeah, totally. And, Josh, just be yourself, right? Just be you, buddy.
Be you. That's what I've always been saying. That's been a big, stance behind what I do every day, because if you're not yourself, you're not going to be happy. Yes. One of the things making us all happy this week is the forecast. I tell you what, all the sunshine, it just like 2 thumbs up every day I see this.
I know. I tell my kids, put the phone down and go outside because we have beautiful conditions. Get some sunshine while we have it right now, I should say. It's not going to last too long. Take a look at this interesting shot from our Queen Bee Radio Sky camera in Platteville. Looks like maybe a little bit of fog trying to develop there. It is a little cooler this morning than it has been the last couple of mornings. Fog is not going to last, though, because we have sunshine in our forecast. Temperatures are running about 10 to almost 20 degrees cooler this morning than we were this time yesterday. Take a look at the blue shaded color on the map, indicating that there are quite a few spots starting out in the 30s this morning. Here's a look at our temperatures over the next 12 hours. We are going to climb to a high of 67 later on this afternoon. Mostly sunny skies are expected expected today. Now, we haven't seen a whole lot of smoke or haze in the atmosphere the last couple of days, but it is going to return. Maybe not necessarily today here in southern Wisconsin, but as we head into Friday, we could start to see some of that hazy smoke in the upper levels of the atmosphere. It would make for a pretty nice sunrise and sunset on Friday. So just be aware that that is in the forecast. Coming up, we'll take a closer peek at the details of the weekend forecast.
All right, Hattie, thank you very much. Stick around, folks. The morning sprint is coming up after the break.
Look at 3 is sponsored by Three Bears Resort Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
Your local Monk's Bar and Grill is open for dine-in guests and convenient takeout. Come visit Monk's and enjoy award-winning apps, burgers, and more while dining safely with us. Visit monksbarandgrill.com to order online and easily view our menus.
Wisconsin is a home of workers. We know what needs to get done, and we do it. Yet, we've been hit hard, some harder than others. Our contact may be limited, but we still can lift each other up. The Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy providers are working together to help keep your heat and power on. You may not ask for it, but we want you to know we're here.
Don't miss out on these great deals at Govan Cars Grand Opening Sale. You can buy 2016 or 2017 Dodge Grand Caravans well-equipped for only $10,995 or $175 per month.
That's right. Buy a 2016 or 2017 Dodge Grand Caravan very well-equipped starting at $10,995 or $175 per month. So just hurry in today and ask for my dad, Don the Dealman Govan.
Or my daughter, Crystal the Pistol Govan.
You gotta go to Govan, GovanCars.com.
We believe every baby deserves a healthy start. Yet many new parents in our community are struggling to afford the basic necessities. You can help change that.
October 8th through 11th, please donate to the News 3 Now Community Baby Shower. Drop off infant care items safely at these no-contact drive-through sites throughout Madison. Visit Channel 3000 for complete details. News 3 Now Community Baby Shower, sponsored by Viridian Homes and Dave Jones, Inc.
When Joe Biden wants an update on the virus, he calls on the nation's top health experts. Working together for all Americans is what Joe does. When writing his healthcare plan, Joe Biden worked with both doctors and patients to make healthcare affordable by lowering premiums, reducing drug costs, and protecting people with pre-existing conditions. Joe listened to both small business owners and workers to create his economic plan that cuts taxes for middle-class families, creates 18 million new jobs in his first term, and raises wages by as much as $15,000 a year. Joe Biden's plans will help working families immediately by making the super rich finally pay their fair share. For Joe, it's never been about ego. It's always been about the work he can do for working families. It's what he's always done. Joe Biden brings everyone to the table and gets it done.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message. Take a break from cooking at home and order takeout from your local Monk's Bar and Grill. Monk's is offering curbside pickup takeout service for your safety and convenience during these difficult times. Visit monksbarandgrill.com for takeout menus and online ordering.
Register and raise funds for the Komen virtual More Than Pink Walk.
6:52, time for the morning sprint.
A new emergency order goes into effect for all of Wisconsin in just about an hour here. The new COVID precautions will impact a lot of area businesses with a new limit on public gatherings. Indoor public spaces like stores, restaurants, and businesses will now only be able to operate at 25% capacity. That goes into effect at 8 a.m.
There are exceptions to the new order, including some colleges and schools, churches, polling locations, and child care facilities. Again, it starts in just over an hour. It'll end on November 6th.
A reminder for folks in Dane County, some of the rules here are stricter, and those are the ones you'll be expected to follow. For example, indoor gatherings like concerts, meetings, or conferences are limited to 10 people or less. Outdoor gatherings are limited to 25 or less. Indoor seating at taverns is also not allowed at all, but they can offer takeout and outdoor seating. For folks in Rock County, you'll be following the governor's statewide order.
Several Republican lawmakers say the emergency order is unenforceable. In a letter, Assembly Speaker Robin Vos and Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald say officials need to follow the rulemaking process outlined by law. They say it can't be enforced until it's approved by the Republican-controlled legislature.
This new emergency order comes as CBS News reports Wisconsin's average daily deaths has tripled in 2 weeks. Hospitalizations are up almost 70% in that same time frame. As of Tuesday, one hospital in Green Bay reported reaching 100% capacity. The National Guard now turning the state fairgrounds into a field hospital for patients who need low-level care.
And as a reminder, here are some of the riskiest things you can do during the pandemic. It's a list from the Texas Medical Association. Among the riskiest activities, going to a bar, going to a sports stadium, or going to a movie. Some of the lowest risk activities are opening up your mail and getting restaurant takeout.
The Marquezan School District is remembering its superintendent this morning after he died from COVID. Dwayne Bark battled the illness for 3 months. He was also the district's athletic director. The Trailways Conference made the announcement on Twitter, asking for prayers for Bark's family, friends, and colleagues.
The Wisconsin's Election Commission will meet this afternoon to give an update on the preps for the November election. Chief Election Official Megan Wolf will talk about how to get a photo ID for free to vote, how many absentee ballots have been returned, and their poll worker recruitment efforts. That starts at 1 o'clock. Look for updates at channel3000.com.
The first and only vice presidential debate is in the books this morning. Candidates spent much of their night debating the Trump administration's handling of COVID-19. Harris says the American people have witnessed, quote, the greatest failure of any president in history. Pence says from the very first day, President Trump put the health of America first.
Both candidates also touched on racial justice. Moderator Susan Page asked both candidates whether they think justice has been served for Breonna Taylor. A police officer shot her in March and is not facing charges in her death. Harris says she doesn't think so and wants the system to be reformed. Pence says our hearts break for the loss of any American life and says he trusts the criminal justice system. He also says the concept that systemic racism exists is a great insult to law enforcement.
Breaking news just into the Alert Center within the last 10 minutes. The next presidential debate between Joe Biden and President Trump will be virtual. The candidates will participate from separate remote locations in a town hall format. Undecided voters will be asking questions. This will happen as scheduled a week from today. The Commission on Presidential Debates made the decision due to the president's COVID-19 diagnosis. Final look at your first warn traffic on a Thursday morning as you're heading out and about this morning. This is the way things are shaping up right now. Just a couple of delays along East Washington Avenue, but Beltline looking good. Traffic times are all in the green this morning. That's your first warn traffic.
And your first warn weather forecast. We start with clear skies across southern Wisconsin. It's going to be a beautiful day once again. Sunshine sticking around all day. A light northerly wind with high temperatures in the upper 60s this afternoon. Again, nearing peak color here across parts of our northern viewing area. It is peak color time for the Northwoods this morning with a few counties already past peak. We have a great weekend forecast if you want to get outside and take a look at some of those fall colors. Temperatures should stay in the low 70s with lots of sunshine. Pleasant nighttime temperatures as well will stay in the 50s through the weekend. Temperatures are going to be cooling down as we head through next week.
Thanks, Addie. Thank you for watching, folks. Join us tomorrow morning.